Hi guys, it's Helen with Wine About Real Estate, and this week we're going to do something a little bit different. We want to introduce you guys to one of our newest clients. His name is Eric. He is a brand new first-time home buyer. Eric is currently leasing right now, looking to purchase his first home. So we're excited about this process. Eric has a lot of questions for us, and we asked for his permission to document the entire process from beginning to end as a first-time home buyer. It was a long consultation, so Tim and I would have to break it up into different segments, but Eric brought a lot of really good questions that we think would be very helpful to you as well if you are thinking about purchasing your first home. And we hope to make this a unique saga of a wine about real estate so that you can follow Eric and cheer him on as he goes through this process of buying his very first house. Hi guys, it's Tim and Helen with Wine About Real Estate, and we're drinking red again. We have a special friend with us today. This is Eric.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me on your show.
Thanks for being on the show with us. Thanks for joining us for wine. What are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking Eloan. I don't really know how to pronounce it exactly, but it's a Pinot Noir from Oregon.
Wow. Is it good?
That sounds very
Yeah,
fancy.
it's pretty good.
Sounds fancy.
Sounds fancy. We drink from Costco and Kroger, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is from Publix. So.
I had a really long day today, so I'm actually drinking soju. So this is my rice wine for the week. So it's been a long day.
There you go.
But thank you so much for joining us. And obviously we have followers because Eric asked us to come on the show. But so please subscribe to us, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're here to answer your questions, give us wine recommendations, ask questions. We're here to answer. But today we have a very special guest, like Helen said, because Eric is looking or potentially looking at buying his first home, and he had some questions he wanted to ask, and he wanted to actually come on our show and ask the show. So we don't know what these questions are. So this is going to be a little unscripted, just like how we like it.
So we're in the hot seats, Eric.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let me just leverage the pressure of public viewership here and ask if you guys could cut me a fancy deal on a home. I'm just kidding.
Well, we can answer that one. That's easy. Our job as a buyer's agent will be help you to negotiate the best deal possible. So since you don't pay for our services, typically in your instance, the sellers will pay for our services. We represent you for
free.
Well, there's no retainer. We don't charge you. So
Right.
In that case, yes, it is in our best interest to make sure that.
Right. That makes sense. I think I have like a kind of basic understanding of what the home buying process looks like, but now that I'm getting into it, I'm kind of scrutinizing, each step just so I really understand before I move forward. I mean, obviously buying a home is a big decision. And one of the big, like you said, like it's not a paid service per se to hire a real estate agent, but it is a pretty hefty portion of there will be a transaction, like something like usually like 5 or 6%, I believe, that's split by buyer and seller or something like that's typically what I hear, and 3% of like the value of a home is fairly significant. And so I guess like this might seem like a silly question, but what is the purpose of hiring a real estate agent?
So there's two. I can answer that one. So there's twofold. So as a seller, you would want to have an agent to represent your best interest. So Helen and I are full service agents, so we take you from start to finish. We're not a transaction brokerage. So we actually are. We help you through the guide. We help you find a house, negotiate a house, get the contracts written, negotiate, finalize the repairs. Because there are, Georgia is a buyer's beware state. So because of that, we have to make sure that you are fully aware of all the disclosures, that the property is in good shape, negotiate the repairs as needed. But even before that, we help you find the house, negotiate with the house, negotiate the price, make sure that all the contingencies are in place. So, we build in financing contingencies to make sure that if you are not able to get financing, we make sure that you're able to secure your earnest money that you have put up. We help you make sure that the house appraises. We help you, basically we take you from start to finish. The average real estate agent only makes $32,000, well, $38,000 a year last year from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors report. So our job, it looks like it's big figures, funds, and there's a lot of big money transaction fees that go on. But at the end of the day, it is a job, and we want to make sure we do a good job, because if you're not going to be a one-time purchase. We want you to purchase multiple properties. And you had mentioned 6% or 3%. We have no idea what the commission is going to be. Me and Helen actually have a firm policy is we get paid what we get paid. So certain times we get paid 1, 2, 3, or 4. We just don't know. The average standard may be 3% or 6%, but we have no idea what the actual end value would be. We don't, and so Helen and me, we have a firm policy. We don't ask the buyer to compensate the difference of any commission. There are agents that do that, and our contracts do allow for that, but we don't do that. There's also a misconception that you can get a better deal if you go directly to the seller, but the way that the contracts are written, it is actually a set commission, and then it is split between the agents. So if you had gone directly to a seller and to a listing agent and said, hey, I want to buy this house, well, then the listing agent actually makes the entire negotiated commission. It could be 6, it could be 5, it could be 4. Then he makes the entire commission because there's no other agent to co-op with. Mm-hmm. On top of that, because the listing agent represents the seller, they don't represent your best interest. So hiring a buyer's agent in your instance is to make sure that we ensure that we protect you from start to finish. And our job, we will still get paid, but it is to make sure that your interests are best protected and not the sellers. Because in this instance, you are being represented as a customer by the listing agent. If you are a seller, the listing agreement is written in a way that says we get paid at X% commission. So if we negotiate with you at 6%, typically, we don't know, but again, because we have to be very careful about commissions because there's regulations and laws for that. But if we say that if we negotiated with you to be a commission of 5%, for example, and we put in there's another line item that says in the event there is another broker, then we will share that commission at 2.5%, 3%, 2%. So the amount is already set between the buyers, by the listing agent and the seller. Mm-hmm. It's not determined by us. Now, with that, because that's the way it's written, if you go directly to the seller, you can, but your interests are not protected. You are going to be treated as a customer, not a client. And by Georgia law, there are very strict rules on that, and of what they have to disclose and what they have to do. And then the listing agent takes the entire commission anyway. It's not like there's a discount involved.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Give me a school.